I'm here with my friends Robert and Calhoun, and we're going to talk today about the generous support from the McNair Foundation that's really allowed us to kind of expand our outreach to the general public about what we do in the laboratory, and importantly, how we can utilize that to teach people who don't know so much about science and get them curious in what we do in the lab.
What do you do?
In our lab, we study how the brain is put together, how it wires up, and how it gives us all of our ability to think, play sports, have emotions. It's basically studying how our brains work and how they're built.
Why did you make the decision to do that?
That's a good question. We still don't know very much about how the brain is put together and how it works. So to me, it was a big challenge because it's a goal that we all have in science and medicine.
How does your research help people?
That's another good question. So right now, we're understanding how our brains are put together. So if we understand how it's put together, similar to how a car is put together, we can understand how it works and how to make it work better and how to fix it when things go wrong.
Why do you like to do this research?
The brain is this kind of ball of jelly between our ears, and it controls a lot of the things that we do, kind of everything that we do, because there's all these little circuits in the brain. Some of them help us move, some of them help us think, some of them help us feel happy and sad, and unfortunately, sometimes those circuits are not working properly in some people. What I love to do is to sit down and talk to them, try to figure out what it is that is bothering them, and then put on my researcher hat for a little while and think, it sounds like these particular parts of the brain are not working properly. So can we use some of the tools that I have as a researcher and also use the ability that I have as a surgeon to put those two things together and figure out the right way to make this person feel better. And it's the best feeling.
So what's the first thing that a baby has to do after it's born? You're doing it right now, and so am I.
Talk?
Yeah, it's part of talking. They don't talk, but they cry. You know why they cry? Because they got to take that first breath. So my laboratory is very interested in how the brain develops to control how you breathe. And what's interesting about that for us is that all has to happen while the baby is growing. So can a baby after it's born walk? No, it has to learn that later. But it has to know how to breathe before it's born, so that immediately after being born, it can take that first breath. And we're trying to understand those steps towards development that set everything up so that baby can take their first breath.
What kind of research do you do?
So I'm an epidemiologist, and I study the risk factors and things that cause specifically cancer in humans and people in large populations.
What is epidemiology?
I knew you were going to ask that question. So epidemiology is a field of study to understand why people develop diseases. We look at different kinds of things like genetics to see whether somebody was born with some type of a gene that could have caused their disease. We look at different populations over time and collect data on all of these individuals to try to learn more about what kinds of things could cause their disease.
What is a McNair scholar?
So that's a really good question, Ben. So the McNairs are a family here in Houston, Mr. Bob McNair and his wife Janice. And the McNairs have given a tremendous amount of money and support to Baylor College of Medicine. And their goal and what the McNairs have done is instead of giving money to build a building with their name on it, they wanted to invest in people's research.
As a McNair scholar, I've had the opportunity to not only have generous philanthropic funding to support our laboratory research, but also talk to people that are also interested in understanding what we do.
So I think it's an honor and privilege to be selected as a McNair Scholar. I think the goals set out for this program were to select ambitious young scientists that are out to make a difference in the world, and that I fall into that classification has been very flattering and heartwarming. And when I look around at my peers and the other McNair Scholars, you really see that it is in a very different league, and I'm working really hard to keep my head above water with that.
I was recruited here, and that McNair Scholarship was a big part of that recruitment to allow me to initiate the research projects that I have here, looking at brain function and looking at neuromodulation and using all the resources available here at Baylor and in the medical center and in Houston to really get this research off the ground and take it to the next level. So I'm very grateful for the McNair Foundation for allowing this to occur.
So for me, being a McNair Scholar has been an honor and a privilege, and getting to know the McNairs has also been an honor and a privilege, and knowing both Janice and Bob, and this has been a really tough year with Bob passing away, and I just feel very privileged to have been part of the McNair Scholars Program, and getting to know the people in the foundation and just being part of the McNair group.
As a McNair Student Scholar, one of the great benefits of being a part of the program is it comes at a very early stage in one's career. So I was a student in the MD PhD program at Baylor when I received it, and it's a great confidence boost. It gets you excited, and then to be involved in sitting and talking with McNairs, usually at least once and often multiple times a year, to see their genuine interest in my progress and in my work was just a really fun and exciting and validating experience as a young scientist and physician scientist in my case. The last thing that I really got out of the program was the close bond that I felt with the McNairs themselves. And I still remember quite vividly sitting next to Mr. McNair, was having such a fun time interacting with me and with the other students. I could just tell that he in particular, but Mrs. McNair as well, who really the two of them together had just this incredible interest and desire and love for what they were doing and for the students that they were helping.
Whether it was hearing about the upcoming NFL draft or how their horse is going to be competing at the upcoming Derby, to just hearing them and their life perspective. Truly, I think they are some of the kindest souls. They truly have a generous spirit and a really great understanding of the value of reaching out to others. I'm incredibly humbled that not only was I able to be a McNair Scholar as a student so many years ago, but that I can now be here as a McNair Scholar as one of the faculty in the McNair Medical Institute. And all along the way, they're never going to leave. Their impact on me is very long-lasting, and I just want to say that everything that they have done has allowed me to help so many other children, help so many other families. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to be able to do great things for so many people.